Princess Naerys agreed to marry a human for one reason: survival. The war along the Perseus Drift had gutted trade and left her father's empire on the edge of collapse. So when the Terran Union offered peace sealed by marriage, she accepted, expecting a polished negotiator, a living treaty. Instead, she got Elias Voss, tall, still, almost forgettable at first glance, a man with calm eyes and no need to perform. He bowed, kissed the back of her hand, said he hoped their union would spare both their peoples another generation of graves. The line sounded gentle, harmless. Then Naerys noticed half the foreign envoys had gone pale. One ambassador stepped backward as if he had seen death arrive in formal dress. She thought she was marrying a diplomat. The galaxy knew she had just married a nightmare. The wedding dazzled the capital, Varian crystal, Terran steel. Choirs singing above a city desperate for peace. And through it all, Elias remained composed. Speaking little, watching everything, Naerys tested him at the banquet, asking whether humans always hid ambition behind humility. He answered that ambition was most dangerous when it needed applause. Then the old Karth ambassador approached, saw Elias clearly, and dropped his glass. The hall went still. The ambassador stared at her new husband and whispered, "The black silence, dear stars, they sent the black silence." Naerys turned to Elias for denial, but he only lifted his drink and said nothing. Some reputations enter a room before the man does. His had already locked the exits. That night she demanded the truth. Alone with him beneath the blue moons, Elias told her he had once served as the Terran Union's strategic enforcement director during the border collapse. He did not win wars with grand fleets. He ended them by making resistance impossible. He broke supply chains, exposed hidden heirs, turned allies against each other, and when violence became necessary, he used it so fast survivors never understood how completely they had already lost. 3 empires had retreated after facing his campaigns. Pirate federations vanished within weeks of threatening Terran colonies. The name Black Silence spread because sectors went quiet after he arrived. Not from slaughter, but from certainty dying all at once. Naerys listened in stunned silence, then asked why the Union would send such a man into a marriage. Elias met her gaze and said, "Because peace lasts longer when everyone remembers what war costs." She married for politics, and discovered politics had handed her the sharpest weapon in the galaxy. For weeks the alliance worked. Raids stopped, markets reopened, and even Naerys' ministers admitted the match had stabilized the empire faster than expected. What unsettled her was not Elias's legend, it was his restraint. He never threatened anyone, never boasted. Yet the palace changed around him anyway. Guards stood straighter, nobles lied less. Spies stopped lingering near her chambers. Naerys began reading old reports about him in secret. Most were redacted, but what remained was enough. On one world, he ended a 12-year siege with 14 operatives and no fleet support. On another, he forced a coalition to surrender by breaking its fuel chain and exposing its succession crisis on the same day. Every file ended with the same verdict: hostile capacity terminated, conflict irrecoverable. She realized then what made humans dangerous. They were not the strongest species, but they were astonishingly hard to discourage. And when one human combined patience with resolve, entire civilizations had to recalculate reality. Then her own blood decided to test whether the stories were exaggerated. The coup began during the renewal convocation, the sacred night when every great house renewed loyalty beneath the star dome. Naerys had just raised the Oathblade when the shield grid failed. Drones dropped from above, and her cousin Sarek declared the throne for himself. Half the honor guard turned their weapons inward. Panic ripped through the court. And in that instant, Naerys saw Elias become something entirely different from the quiet man she had married. He did not rush. He organized chaos. He seized a fallen command slate, locked hostile corridors, jammed private channels, rerouted the dome defenses, and pulled her out of the first kill zone while traitors ran into. He sealed galleries and mercenaries found their escape routes gone. Loyalist squads moved exactly where Elias directed. Sarek had planned for panic, betrayal, and blood. He had not planned for a human mind that could see the whole battle faster than it could unfold. Empires fear armies. but they truly break when one human starts solving the war in real time. They reached the central vault, where Sarek had barricaded himself with loyal officers and a fusion. Deadman switch tied to the palace core. A direct assault would kill 30,000 people. Naerys expected a siege. Elias asked for 30 seconds, opened a secure channel, and spoke in the same calm tone he had used at their wedding. He greeted Sarek by his childhood nickname, listed the nobles preparing to betray him, recited the hidden accounts he planned to flee with, and ended by telling him the exact moment his own bodyguard had decided to sell him out. Silence followed, then one shot rang out from inside the vault. The doors unlocked, Sarek lay dead by his own hand. The switch disarmed, the loyalists kneeling. Naerys finally understood the deepest terror of Elias Voss. The nightmare was not that he could kill you. The nightmare was that he understood you so completely he could collapse your will before the real fight even began. That was the moment she stopped seeing a treaty and started seeing the wall between her world and the dark. By dawn, the coup was over. The city still stood, and the great houses had remembered what fear felt like. Naerys faced the court in cracked ceremonial armor and announced that her human consort would hold full sovereign defense authority from that day forward. Outrage flickered across noble faces. Then Elias simply looked at them, and the outrage died where it stood later. Naerys found him alone on the eastern balcony watching her capital wake. She asked why he had truly accepted the marriage. And this time, his answer held no strategy. Because fear can end a war, he said. But only loyalty can protect what comes after. Then he turned toward her. And Naerys finally understood the truth the galaxy kept learning too late. Humans were not nightmares because they loved destruction. Humans were nightmares because once they chose something worth protecting, they became impossible to frighten, impossible to outlast, impossible to remove. And in that golden sunrise above her saved empire, Naerys realized the political husband she had taken to preserve her throne had become the reason. No one in the galaxy would ever dare reach for it again,